So, looks like everybody's here. I'm hoping everything's set up right. I don't know what the deal is with these technical difficulties, but it seems like every time. If you've ever been behind the scenes with me starting one of these live streams, you would know every single time that it's something. Actually, I just put together a chair, a better, more comfortable chair for me to sit in today. So that's part of the technical difficulties, and I totally, well, I'm not going to tell you everything, but I jacked some stuff up. What is this music? What's going on? So what's up, everybody? This is episode 53. You know what the deal is. One of these days, I'll fix the camera angle, so if I'm sitting here comfortably, my hand's not just in front of my face. So what's up, everybody? Episode 53, Josh Ray Farmer coming at you with the live Q&A. You guys ask questions, and I give you answers. I actually ask you to ask questions, and then you ask me to give you an answer is really what it's actually a question to then an answer. But you guys know the drill. Get in the comment section. Do what you do, and don't be dumb. I will warn you ahead of time. Unfortunately, my sound effects pad, my OG sound effects pad, is out of commish. I can't figure it out. It's a doozy, but we'll figure it out later. So you guys, thanks for being on here. I'm going to do my best to, let's do this. Maybe I should just face the camera. There we go. You guys know what to do. You can ask questions in the comment section, or you can just wait until I get to the questions that you guys previously asked on the interwebs, which we're going to be getting to real quick. Looks like you guys converse very well in the comment section before I even arrive. So what's up, everybody? Dambria, Brody, Rochelle. Thank you guys for being on here. Amanda, what's up? We got some OGs in the house. Of course, you guys are like regulars. We just need a seat for everybody. If everything looks good and sound good, maybe you guys can give me a nice little thumbs up. I wonder if this might still work. Let me see here. I got to be careful. The sandboard is jacked. Anyway, yeah, let's see here. You guys, I see you conversing. Hopefully you're not talking too much trash in the comment section, but that's what it's for, so do your thing. Christy, what's up? Yeah, so guys, thanks for being on here. I love when Rochelle says, hi, Joshy. It just sounds strange when there's other people watching. It just is, it's just cute. It's adorable. All right, so you guys, thanks for being on here. Christy, I love that you're sending the flags. Unfortunately, I don't have... Oh, wait, do I? There we go. There we go. We got some flags going on. I'm telling you, I could do a whole episode like this. Just flags. Totally down. Don't talk garbage. Yeah, we don't want that. So, getting used to new tech in here. So if there's some fumbling around, then you guys will have to just excuse me. It's been a week. It's been a week. Hope everybody's doing well. It is, for some of us, graduation week for a lot of our children, or just, I guess, people in general. But it's that time of year. Summer's about to start for us, and things are hectic, very busy, and time is of the essence. Anyway, exciting stuff. So hopefully everybody's doing well. No Town's on here. What's up? Yeah, guys, converse in the comment section below, and anytime you send a flag for today, that's what we're doing. Okay, we're going to get to the first question, and we're going to go at it immediately. It's going to set the tone for the night, for the evening, since you guys are probably watching from the comfort of your own home, from your bed, maybe, I don't know, from the couch, from the car, from work. Some of you are not working, although you should be. You're at work and you're not working, but I'm not judging. Hopefully this all sounds good. I don't know if anybody, maybe I already addressed that. Let's get closer. There we go. All right, we got it going on. Look at this. This is definitely happening today. Sound effects. I should just be the audio guy. I should just be in the background, just doing the audio stuff. All right, first question. This is going to be the soonest. Actually, let's see. How long are we into it? Yeah, we're 13 minutes in. I guess it's not that long. I made you guys wait. We're going to go right into the first question, and this is going to be coming from Facebook, and it asks, oh no, this is Instagram, sorry. This is what's a topic you'd like to talk about today and discuss? Question mark. Okay, that's a good question, and I'm glad you asked. Instagram, what's a topic you'd like to talk about today and discuss? I say the great outdoors. It's that time of year. It's nice outside. If you're from California, if you're anywhere from near me right now in the Central Valley, you'll know that the weather is very strange right now. It's really nice, but it's unusual for this time of year. So I say that the topic should be the great outdoors. So that's what I'd like to talk about today. So if you guys have any questions, let's talk about the outdoors. Let's talk about, I don't know, camping, whatever you guys like to do. Matter of fact, I'll ask you guys this, since that's the topic, is when it comes to outdoors, what is your favorite thing to do outdoors? What is, like, when you think of outdoors, what is the thing? Do you think about laying out in your yard, getting some sun? Do you think about traveling or hiking? Do you think about camping? Do you think about adventures or vacation? What do you guys think about when you think about the outdoors? Okay, so that's going to be the topic. If there's a topic for tonight, it's that. And we're going to get into the questions, of course. And like always, I'll be doing my best to try to get you guys in the comments section, making sure I don't leave anybody out. Let's see here. So Brody is saying, does he only sound low to me? My volume is all the way up. I can turn it up, so just let me know. If it's low, watch what I can do. You guys ready for this? I don't know if you're ready for this. Here we go. Let's push it. Actually, why don't you guys let me know what's too loud? Just tell me how that sounds. I can really hear myself there. Let's turn these headphones down so I don't have to hear myself. There we go. Okay, here we go. Christy says she's couch locked. Right on. Dambria said she's out painting rocks or up painting rocks. That's awesome. You guys know I always love to hear where does your calling from, watching from, long-time listeners, no-time callers, where you guys are watching from, what you're doing, what you're up to, and that's that. What town, what city, what state, what piece of furniture are you sitting on? I'm going to maybe get some weird answers on that one. Michelle says she misses camping. Legitimate. Camping, is it? Not everybody likes it. It's funny when people say, I don't like to get my feet wet. I'm sorry. I don't like to get my feet dirty, or I don't like the dirt, or I don't like if there's no outlets or showers. Like, Jesus, that's like the whole point. But it's always weird to me when people, I guess, don't share my affinity for camping just because I love it so much. And yes, Christy, you're right. It is like London fog right now, except for humid. Rochelle said she thinks about photography and what she can capture in the great outdoors. That's cool. Dambria, you got it. There you go. She said the great outdoors was filmed at Bass Lake. You're right. The Pines Resort is decorated with a lot of movie extras. Fun fact. Very cool. You know, I've always wanted to rewatch that now that I know that fact, but I never have. No Town saying Lake / Angel Falls. That's what you think of when you think outdoors. Angel Falls is an amazing place. Wish it was a little less traveled and harder to get to, but it is wonderful. You guys, don't be shy. Michelle says she takes the boys to the beach a lot. Yeah, I haven't been to the beach in a while. It's been too damn long. That's funny. Brody Jade, long comment, but adorable. Lay out in the grass. Whether you live in a house or an apartment, just go find a patch of grass. Just go lay in it, in the shade. It feels amazing. Amanda, if you do that barbecue, go ahead and bring some over. Send you the address. Slip into the DMs and I'll give you the address. You can bring some chicken over. All right, so his first question is actually kind of relating to what Rochelle said about the outdoors. This question is coming also from Instagram, and it is actually, I don't know who that's from. Yeah, this is actually somebody I'm trying to get on my show too, by the way. I've talked her into it. She's a little reluctant. She said yes, but she's camera shy, which, by the way, I've been reaching out a lot to different folks and asking them, people that I look up to or revere in some way, or, I've mentioned to you guys like who I want to bring on the show. The types of people I want to bring on the show: artists, creators, business people, veterans, or anything related to all that. But best if they fall under all three categories. But this girl I want to get on the show is into the cosmetics world, but she's a very interesting human. I've tattooed her quite a few times. She's agreed, just not quite yet set a date, but she'll be here someday. Anyway, it'll be a surprise, so it's just me giving you a cliffhanger. But she's asking, what camera do you use for your YouTube podcasts? So the subject's outdoors tonight, and Rochelle had mentioned that her favorite, when she thinks of outdoors, she thinks of what she can photograph. And so this lady's also asking, what camera do I use for my YouTube podcast? What cameras? Like, look, we can switch it up. We can get fancy behind the scenes. Why do I look so red? I look really red today. That's a little better. Okay. You know what's funny is I want her on, this girl that I'm speaking of, I want her on the show, but I don't even think she watches the show. That's kind of funny because she's asking about the cameras and she won't know my answer unless she's watching this. So hopefully she is. But the cameras that I use are any camera that I have. I really don't care about the cameras as much as I care about the fact that it's functioning and working. If it's a good day if it's all working without too much fuss. So the cameras that I typically use, if I have any preference at all, in case anybody's wondering, which this lady is Canon. Anything Canon I'm into. There's a huge difference between photo and video and their capabilities. So some do a little bit of both really well. Some do one or the other really well. So depending on what you want the camera for, you have to make sure it has the capabilities for you, especially live streaming. Most new cameras are going to have these features, but for live streaming, you want something that's set up for that. So I don't know if you guys are into cameras. I know I am. You're obviously watching this through a camera. I know Rochelle is, considering she's a photographer. But if you guys have any camera questions, I always like talking about that shit too. Be another good topic. Jennifer says, Santa Cruz and yard work. So you're listening to this while doing yard work. That's awesome. I guess it would still be a little bit light out there right now. Lene's on here. What's up, Lene? Thanks for joining us. Well, party time. Rochelle says, P.S. Joshy, great angle today. Angle, like the topic, great angle is in like the camera. Is subject is cameras at the moment. The next one is not even a question. You know, I get statements too. I'm not going to read that one. That one's just for me. I'll read the next one. What's something or someone that makes you proud? That's a question coming also from Instagram. And that's a really good question and something I'm excited to talk about because it happens to me often. That I'm around people all the time that, let's say, make me proud, or that I guess it says, what's something or someone that makes you proud? Something that makes me proud? I don't think there's something that makes you proud. There is someone's. Amanda's asking, are you familiar with Pentax cameras? I am not even a little bit. I think Pentax, maybe. I think it's older. I don't know if they do anything video. Thanks, Rochelle, for the composition, saying the camera angle, the composition of our view. I usually like to move this desk around a lot, but I haven't been able to just because I kind of have it set up. What I usually try to do is I try to put the mic right in the center, and then I try to sit in front of it so it reminds me to stay in front of the camera. But usually I like to move this table around to get a different scene. But since I have it in front of this table on the other side, so you guys are looking through the camera right now, but if you flip the camera and check out the other side, that's the set. And I kind of hate to move everything since it's so dialed in. And so now this is the background you get. Deanna's on here saying, so the beach resets my soul and camping makes my heart happy and makes me feel alive. That's awesome. I'm with you on that. I always just am so shocked when people say otherwise. Like, it's so weird to me if somebody doesn't agree that camping or the outdoors or anything related to it is like refreshing. It's so wonderful. Okay, so the next question that's coming in is what makes someone or what something or someone that makes you proud? And my answer is my kids. My kids, this is graduation week. My daughter is graduating, and just to brag for a little bit, not really brag, but to share a little. This thing's smoking fast, but good. This is a wonderful one. This is actually the third time I've smoked this on a live stream because this is just so enjoyable. This is the Del Sol, the Isla Del Sol, and it's flavored, I believe, because every time you lick your lips, you could like taste almost chocolate. It's wonderful. I know it's a little bit of a cigar sin. Don't tell anybody. Jeez, get your panties in a wad. So anyway, my daughter is graduating, and last week was her last week. And now that she's graduating, it's very strange. And, usually we have kind of a schedule. Their whole lives have had a schedule that has kept me involved with them as a father. And that's all changing now. It's hard to get used to. But new things often are hard to get used to, especially if it's that big of a change. But this kid, man, she's done well in school. She's done her best to follow things that she's passionate about and excel in them. Anything from music to, volunteering to just her academia at all. She's just, man, I sometimes am jealous of her and how well she does in, let's say, an organized setting like that, because I was just exactly the opposite. She's like, wow, that's kind of weird. In almost every single way, the opposite of me. Not only is she a female, and she's beautiful, so all the opposite of me, but she's also incredibly intelligent and does really well in school, has great close friends, which I never had growing up, and incredibly talented. Like this kid, she like reads music. She doesn't really make music, whereas I can't read music at all, but I like to make music. It's just like my exact opposites. So it's wonderful to have her in the home. And I'll be changing soon now that she's graduating. So anyway, that's the answer to that question of someone that makes me proud. I also have to mention one more person, actually, just because today was a good day to bring it up. Thank you, Sachi. Okay, so another person that makes me proud lately is, I got to tell you guys a story. Samurai, one of my apprentices, and you guys probably know who Samurai is and have known a little bit about her story and whatnot, and maybe what happened to her last year, but not to get into that at the moment. Just Samurai is someone who walked into my shop with just guns blazing, just totally total wildflower, up and down all the time. She was just so untamed, I guess. She was young, right? She was 19 years old. She came to me and said she wants to learn tattooing, full of energy. And over the last year, it's been very interesting to watch her growth, because she went from being like trying to catch a dog and like set it down so it can focus on something, to eventually her realizing, through helping her, I've gotten her to realize she has Sleepy Sam and she has Samurai. Samurai is the name I gave her for being in the shop. So Sam is either Sleepy Sam or Samurai, and we're trying to get her Samurai more than she's Sleepy Sam. Sleepy Sam lays down on the job. She doesn't do a whole lot. She doesn't help out all the time. She thinks she's there when she's not there. She sleeps literally on the job time to time. She shows up late. She leaves early. She goes to lunch. She's gone all day. And so Sleepy Sam is not somebody who's going to cut it in the tattoo world as an apprentice. But Samurai, when she's Samurai, it's like a complete Jekyll and Hyde moment. Rochelle, by the way, of course, you're right, 100%. So anyway, Sleepy Sam is not what we want. Samurai is what we want. And then, of course, last year in October, unfortunately, she got in a terrible accident. It was a very close call. I'm glad that she's okay now. But it was quite a transformation for this young lady. That being said, she tried to come back. She wanted to tattoo again once she started gaining back. Took her a while to get back to walking and being home. She was in the hospital for a very long time. So she recently, a few months ago, was out of the hospital and doing a rehabilitation, trying to get back into the tattoo world and coming into the shop. And honestly, the truth is just really fucking shit up. She was not doing well. Being the kind, generous person I am, I gave her a ton of grace. As much grace as I was willing. So I still expect her to perform, and I still expect her to be professional, and that wasn't at the moment happening. So that was a few months ago now, and I explained to her the difference between Sleepy Sam and Samurai. And even though she made a full physical recovery, I don't think she made necessarily at the time, and maybe even still, maybe it'll be a long journey, but she wasn't quite yet to be in the shop with a full recovery, I think, emotionally. That being said, I sent her home and I had told her, like, look, this is over. Our apprenticeship's over. This is not working. The way you're acting is not, it's not going to help me. It's not going to help you. And it's not going to help your career. So I had to let her go. And that was very emotional for both of us, just because I care about the kid a lot. But also, it was the message I think we both needed, especially her, to understand that she can't fuck around. If she's serious, she needs to do this. So she tried to come back a while later. And she had asked that, I accept her back and she can start apprenticing again. And Christy says, might be part of the recovery. Sleep is important. Yeah, Sleepy Sam was given to her way before the accident. So, and Mikey, what's up, man? Thanks for being on here. Get spicy in the comment section. I know that you will. And Deanna, thank you very much for that. I appreciate it. So anyway, back to Sleepy Sam and Samurai. I told Samurai a couple of months ago that I finally kind of dawned on me. You know, something I do often is I pray for guidance for God to show me the path that I need to walk. Often I ask of him this every single day. Just give me the ability to recognize the path that I'm supposed to walk, and that's what I execute on. Well, it was clear to me I had to let Samurai go, and that was necessary. And then months later, when she wanted to come back and she promised me that she would, now no longer be Sleepy Sam, that she would be Samurai in the shop. Of course, I agreed, took her back, and I told her, this is the last try we ever get. We're not doing this again. We're not going to play the back and forth. This isn't a daycare, and you need to step up. If you're going to step up and you're ready for it, you got to make sure you're really ready, because it's the last time we're playing this game. And so I told her straight up, I'm going to be real with you, Samurai, word for word what I told her. You belong here. The shop has called you for a long time. It's not accident why you're here. It's for a reason, and you should do this. It's important to you. It's not a if and or but. It's a let's do this kind of moment. And I just explained that to her and said, when you're ready to really commit, let's commit. And she said, okay, she was ready. And in the last couple of months. So anyway, back to the question. It's what's someone that has made you proud? And we talked about my daughter. Now we're talking about Samurai. Man, it is so cool to see people go from point A to point B, whatever that is, to see somebody move forward, to see somebody move along, small strides, big strides, cumulative strides over time. Either way, it's so exciting. And it makes me so proud to see somebody who's tried so hard for so long. I had to fight. Every apprentice I ever have as a tattooer has a demon. Everybody probably has one, but as an apprentice, there's one. Samurai's was the Jekyll and Hyde moment of Sleeping Sam and Samurai, and we needed Samurai. The last 2 months, she's really stepped up. I know she doesn't watch these because she has to hear me talk all day. She doesn't watch this shit. But Samurai stepped up. She put Sleepy Sam at home, and she has been killing it. She is on here. She's on it. She's committing. She's showing up. She's doing today is the first day she did a custom art piece. The guy yesterday wanted a dragon. She drew it last night, came in. Today she executed it, and she's going to actually add more to it tomorrow. It is fascinating to see how well she's doing. And my job is to get Samurai out of her and to leave Sleepy Sam at home. And it's working, and it's just fucking awesome. You guys have seen her on here on the live, I think, before. So it's really cool to see her progress and where she's going. So that's someone who definitely makes me fucking proud. Rochelle says, sometimes all we need is a little fire lit under our asses. It's not a bad thing. It's a learning thing. I totally agree. And I think that's what she needed. And I know she recognizes that and appreciates it. She thanks me for it. So that's really a cool relationship to have between the two of us. But just to see her do so well is so exciting. It's wonderful. Speaking of outdoors, so tonight is kind of that topic. I'm jumping all around the place here with my thoughts because so much is going on in my life at the moment. So many changes, but with the great outdoors being the topic tonight. And actually, Shelley, I guess this would be good information for you to know if you don't already, that Isabel wants to be an environmental scientist. She's already been in environmental science for the last couple of years in CART here in as an elective from her school, or as a, I guess what is called a fields or trade school. But she's been doing environmental science, and now that she's graduating, she actually wants to go work for the Forestry Service. So she's going to hopefully work up in the national parks here, maybe even eventually in Oregon. She's mentioned that too. And so doing environmental science for either fire departments, or even just the national parks. So speaking of outdoors, that might just be her job, which is fucking awesome. Congratulations, Leanne. That's awesome. Okay, so next question. Again, you guys in the comments, if you ever want to go ahead and slip in there and ask some questions, you can do so. This is also a good question, and I do get this question a lot, not just on the live stream, but day to day. It's how long does it take to get an appointment with you? Like, how long does it take to like actually get a date sealed in stone? Or how long does it take after it's sealed in stone for you to wait to actually get the tattoo? Let's answer both. So how long does it take to get an appointment? It should take a matter of maybe hours or days. I have people that, book me now for me as assistants, but I don't really do it much anymore myself. So it could take up to 24, 48 hours. Oftentimes, and I'm sure you guys know this if you've been in the shop or been tattooed by me, that oftentimes people will say, hey, I reached out, never heard back from anybody. Don't know if you ever got my message or my email. I went through the website, filled out the contact form, did everything you're supposed to do. I haven't heard back. Oftentimes our stuff actually ends up in the junk mail. So you always have to check that. That's a necessary evil. Check the junk mail, make sure we didn't end up there. Because oftentimes when people say we didn't respond back, we oftentimes did, and it ends up in the junk mail. Christy, I really wish you have it right, actually. I wish I had my buttons, but they're down today, so much silence today. But that's the answer to most of the world's problems is bring cash. So anyway, talking about the appointment part, to get an appointment, call the shop or go to the contact form. That's pretty easy. How long does it take to get an appointment? Meaning how long do you have to wait until you actually get tattooed? Right now I'm booked until January, February of next year. Pretty soon those will be booked up solid. That's what we're looking at right now. They'll be solid here. Solid pretty soon. It's usually 6 months to a year. The only reason it's actually only January, February right now is because I think things have slowed down a little this year. It's kind of an unusual year, but definitely will pick back up. Slow down. I mean, I'm still booked out, for the rest of this year, so that's good. Mikey says, when exactly did you start praying? Because you've been dealt some shitty cards, and I don't remember ever being into the Lord, which I respect, but didn't know you was anything of that. What's interesting, Mikey, is actually right after we stopped hanging out, so like 16, I got a job at G.I. Joe's. I was kind of around, but not really. It was when I started studying the Bible. Well, I've always been in Bible school, and growing up, I was always in church until we moved to Oregon, which is when I met you. But it's a good question because it's been a topic of mine lately. I've been really touching on with a lot of people, customers and clients and friends and family that, a lot of people, like for a long time in my life, I considered myself an atheist. I'm reluctant to say I was an atheist because I actually would like to just admit that I considered myself an atheist previously in my life and walked down that road for a while. And what's interesting is kind of being on a different side of things lately. There's a sort of pressure that people feel when they make a change in life, especially something monumental that is different than their previous ways. It could be anything, like say you were heavily tattooed growing up and you stopped, or you were in a gang and you stopped, or you were in prison, you don't want to go back, or vice versa. All kinds of weird changes happen in life. Maybe you started a business. It's different than, you want to be a baker, but you were like a Navy SEAL before that. Whatever the change is, a lot of times we feel this pressure to hang on to our previous identities. And usually it's because of our ego thinking about what other people will say of you. And so it's really cool to be 40 years old talking about these types of things, because no longer am I concerned. It took a long time to get to a place like this, and I think that's what it takes. But it's really cool to be at a place where I'm no longer concerned about being worried about admitting how I feel today based off of, my identity, whatever I identified with in the past. I'm not talking about pronouns. Don't even get into that shit. But when exactly to start praying, I think all of us pray, Mikey. To be honest with you, I think everybody prays, which is why I said allegedly I was a atheist. At least I considered myself one. But was I really? I think somewhere in everybody we know that there's something else we're communicating with. So I would say that's pretty innate to being a human. So probably praying always, my whole life. praying intently, which is definitely different and very much more, to me, very more powerful. That's been fairly recent, actually, this last year. So thank you for asking that. Not ashamed to admit it. Natalie's on here. What's up, Natalie? I know I'm a little behind on the comments. I get off on tangents. That's the whole point of the show. So if I'm reading these a little behind time, then forgive me. And sounds like you're having a good time, so that's awesome. Mikey says, how many times have you puked from too much cigar? And do you yell Joe Rogan as you're puking? I don't know exactly what that means or if that's a thing. And I love you too. But actually, I have puked over cigars before. You know, the first time tobacco ever made me sick, Mikey, was at Candy Cane Lane. Candy Lane? I don't remember the name of the school. I could be getting this wrong. We went to the same school, I think. Candy Lane, maybe that's what it's called. Anyway, Candy Lane, when we went to that grade school in Gladstone, I think it was, I tried tobacco for the first time. It was actually chew. And man, I fucking filled up a bathtub of puke that day. But since then, no. Cigars, I've felt nauseous before in the past, but when I first started smoking them as an adult. But no longer do they necessarily, they don't make me feel sick, but there are times where they're a little much and they get you a little lightheaded. So if it's a real heavy cigar, a real big cigar, or dark, you know, a real rich tobacco, depends on the nicotine content, I guess, or the tobacco content, how dense it is, can definitely get you. Turn you green, especially if you're green. If you're green, smoke a big cigar, it'll make you sick. But step up with the big boys and get over it. A little throw up never killed nobody. Well, I shouldn't say that. Danbury is asking a good question. How many clients do you do in a day? Well, I have a rule. I don't do my clients. I don't mix business with pleasure. So that's my answer. None. Natalie, you're welcome. I'm just kidding, Danbury. How many clients do I do in a day? Usually one. I like to focus on one a day. If you guys saw my last episode with Robert, Robert Miranda was on here on episode 50. And now it's 53, so 3 episodes ago, where he had mentioned the same thing. It was really cool to find out an artist like him, someone I look up to, who's amazing at what he does, said the same thing, that it's one a day. We want to give our full undivided attention to one piece a day so we can give everything it has. Because as you get better as an artist and as you acquire more skills and more abilities, I guess, same thing, you really want to take all of that and you've got to take time and dedication to pour that into something, because now you're armed with all kinds of tools. So it's going to take a lot longer than just the simpler things that maybe you do when you're first starting. It's funny. Danbury asked, have you been baptized? Good question. Have I been baptized? I have been baptized. I was just mentioning to Mikey that I started Bible study right after me and him really stopped hanging out. I got a job. Everybody else was still in school, so me and him kind of had some distance. Plus, his brothers hate me, although I love them. His whole family. I love his whole family. I mean that respectfully. Yeah, I actually quit school and started working. And by 16, I started a Bible study, actually, with a wonderful man, Brian, and his wife. They were actually still had the Bible he actually made for me for my baptism. And we studied the Bible for years, and I really appreciate him and the time he set out for me. It was really meaningful. It was very impactful. Even to this day, 40 years old, I still think back at the time that I had that Bible study with him and his wife. And you know, they accepted me into their home, this young, dumb, idiot kid. And yeah, it was really wonderful. Anyway, I'm just bringing that up to mention that he actually encouraged me to get baptized, and I did. And it was an incredible experience. And I mean, to this day, it all ties in together. So it's a long story, but the simple answer is yes. Leanne says, learn by experience is definitely the best way. That's for sure. I'm going to catch up to you guys right now. No Town said he just got baptized the other day. That's incredible. Right on. Welcome to the other side. You know, I've heard, again, the guy I studied the Bible with, Brian, that taught me probably more than single-handedly than any other man did about the Bible, that when you're baptized, you really have to put your guard up and be careful and really, you know, sharpen your sword, because now you're a servant of God, and the devil, the opposing side, really, he's worried about you now, and so to get in the way of his work. So you got to arm yourself, man, because it's definitely no joke. I believe that wholeheartedly. Mikey, thank you very much, and I hope the same for you. I love you, bro. If you want to say anything embarrassing like you usually do, it's totally fine. Nobody on here has a weak stomach besides you. Yes, and you're confirming the school was Candy Lane. See, I've been to so many schools I can't remember them all. Thank you, Rochelle, for that too. So I'm going to catch up to you guys now. Let's scroll through these. When's the last time you went fishing? Brody Jade asked, when's the last time you went fishing? That's a good question. Man, I can't remember which one it was. It was last summer. Backpacking. Me and Sheldon went backpacking, and we went fishing quite a bit. So August, September last year. Let's see here. Scroll down. Jimmy, what's up, man? Thanks for being on here. Appreciate you. We're going to give you a little party noise. Got some Jimmy. Jimmy's here. Jimmy helped me build my rear end. That's all I'm going to say. I'm going to leave it right there. Jimmy, yes, you're right. Sugar, if anybody's wondering, I'm going to try to keep this thing from going out. Often happens by now if I start talking too much. Not only is this one of my favorite drinks, it's a good excuse to drink it, but it does have a ton. It's not the best, but it's a ton of sugar. 39 grams in this little tiny can. Sugar will cure a lot of times your nausea from something like a cigar. A piece of chocolate will help, especially if it's real chocolate. Also, sugar cubes will help. Soda helps. Anything with sugar immediately in your system. A spoonful of sugar, if you're feeling nauseous, actually makes a big difference. I actually don't know why. I have no clue. But anyway, it's definitely a thing. So if you catch it early enough, though, that's the key, Jimmy, is yes, a piece of chocolate will help with the nausea, but you got to get it. You can't be a tough guy and tough it out until it's too late, and then you're spinning. So if you're new to cigars, then there you go. There's the tip. Mikey says, good question. Who was your first crush musically besides Marilyn Manson? Fuck. Like my first crush, like just somebody I was super into, I'm assuming you mean? I I did think Marilyn Manson was an attractive man, to be honest. When I was growing up, I was like, that guy's badass. I want to be like that. Let's touch this bad boy up real quick. So, I don't know, man. That's my first crush, like, musically? That's hard. I don't know. Fuck. I don't know. I really don't know how to answer that. Their first crush musically, besides Marilyn Manson. I think that was like 13 when Marilyn Manson got popular, and I would have to say that's probably when I started getting into music like most people. So that and I don't know. Fuck. I would have to say that was it. I mean, I found a bunch of music after that, but that really started a lot of. It really helped me to get into it because that first video that I saw, Sweet Dreams, was so different than anything I'd ever seen. Even to this day, it's still very eerie. I just thought it was beautiful. I personally think it's one of the most beautiful videos, pieces of imagery I've ever seen. I still say that, honestly. It was just something about it was disruptive. Maybe you could say disturbing, but I like the word disruptive. Diana, thanks for being on here. I know I'm always a little behind on the comments because I try to get to them, so I have to scroll a little slower than you guys comment. But thanks for being on here. Appreciate you. Mikey says, so you have a little extra cheese on the taco? Turtleneck. Movie reference, maybe? I'm not sure. Lolly, thanks for being on here. What's up? Oh my God, you just effed up my name. It's okay. I forgive you. So give us, let's be real. Like, people sometimes get super touched, and I always think it's funny. If I've never heard anybody say your name, how would I know it? So why don't you give us a little tutorial on how to pronounce it, if you will. Lene looks correct. Maybe I said Leanne or something. It looks like Leanne from far away. I'm looking at a screen way off to the distance, so. Okay. Danbury says, for the first 40 days, the devil comes for you, but I believe he comes for you every day, no matter what. I think he leaves his. I think those at ease, those at rest, are usually those not attacked, and those are usually the ones that he's got the meat hooks in. So he's got you. He doesn't have to come for you anymore. And I think that's a really good literal and metaphorical way of understanding what evil is. And No Town says that's when temptation arises the most, and I completely agree. And anybody under those circumstances understands what you mean. Okay, so let's keep going down. I'm going to catch up. Like I said, Mikey says, Jerry only, definitely not. What's interesting, though, is I've met him a few times. He's a really cool guy. I don't know if you know this, Mikey, but if you look up Doyle, the guitarist for the Misfits, which was my favorite band growing up, if you look up Doyle, you'll see that he's in a relationship. And that relationship actually started because of my kids. So if you ever want to hear the story, or if you don't know it, then I'll share it sometime. Mikey. Yeah, I thought that was a woman singer, to be honest with you. Octavia says the Dope Show was the shit. Man, it was so cool to grow up in a time where that stuff was so shocking. You know, like Kiss and Alice Cooper and Ozzy and all those people weren't so shocking anymore in the 90s because we'd already had so many more people pushing the limit to such a higher level that as kids we needed something more. Maybe it was shocking for our parents, but it wasn't for us, at least my age. So we needed something more, and I think Marilyn Manson really fucking did that for sure. He was definitely not just a drop in the bucket. He was like a stain on everything. It was wonderful. Okay, and not Jonathan Davis, question mark. I'm not going to say your name, by the way, until you tell us how to say it. Not Jonathan Davis, not really. He was too whiny for me. He was too, I'm hurt, my mom is mean and whiny. I didn't really vibe with it. It didn't, no jive there. Rochelle, definitely not. 100%. Not at least that I can remember. Okay, let's see here. Mikey, definitely not G.G. Allen. That dude is weird. Cool, whatever. Maybe a pioneer for shock, if you will, but not necessarily into that. Actually, now that you said G.G. Allen, it reminds me of somebody else similar to him in a way, which is Jim Morrison. And the reason I say Jim Morrison is because growing up, I remember hearing his voice, and it was always so, like, it put you in a trance. As a little kid, even hearing, like, Riders on the Storm, L.A. Woman, that was transformative. So that might be actually the answer right there. You just sparked that memory. Saying G.G. Allen because he was so shocking, but so was Jim Morrison in his own way. And these guys were so young for what they were doing. It was pretty incredible. And Jimmy, you are right. The Welds were actually pretty good. They definitely weren't the most beautiful, but they worked, and they are still holding up strong. So thanks for building my rear end for me, Jimmy. All right, gotcha. Nay. All right, Mikey, but bro, we weren't shooting up schools. There's no good way to bring, I probably shouldn't even say that out loud. There's no good way to bring that shit up, but what a horrible trend to start. You know what's crazy is that got real serious when we were kids, man. That was scary as hell. It just started seemingly popping out of nowhere. It makes me wonder how kids now feel, where it's like common now. Like it's something you have to worry about. Not cool at all. But so long as you have societies where boys are being raised without, parents in the home and kids in general, you're going to have these violent people who just want to be heard and they don't have any other way. The right way to put a dent in the universe is to be heard through the great things you do and the things you overcome. But if you don't know how to do that because you weren't armed with it and you weren't in the right, I'm not giving them an excuse, just offering one explanation that is possible, feasible, is if you don't give them something to believe in a way to make a dent in the universe in a positive way, well, they're going to do it in a negative way. And I think that's a terrible thing. And it sucks to say that that's gotten only worse over time. Okay, let's get to the next question, and then we'll get to the Facebook questions. I already answered that one. How long does it take to get an appointment with you? A year. Next question is coming from Facebook. This is a long one, but I've answered it so many times. What do you recommend for someone who wants to get into tattooing with no experience? What do you recommend for someone who wants to get into tattooing with no experience? Well, one is if you have zero experience actually tattooing, there's a million other things you can do. I'll give you a really good answer, and I promise I won't ramble on. Yeah, I promise. Okay. So what do I recommend for someone who wants to get into tattooing with no experience? I recommend drawing a lot. I recommend the same thing. Look, people think being a doctor or being a lawyer or being a tattoo artist or being speaking on camera or starting a YouTube channel or operating a live show, getting healthy, getting fit, spirituality or church or religion. They think that all these things are like different subjects and different ways to get into them, or different. Everybody likes to get confused. Everybody gets very confused with so much shit in your life going on that we don't realize that the path to anything is the same path to everything, which is get in it. Like, start doing it. If you want to learn to tattoo, get into tattooing, immerse yourself with it. If you want to get into tattooing and be good, you want it to be a career, well, then not only do you have to learn tattooing, you have to learn how to have a career. You have to learn how to build a business. Nobody's going to hire you to be a tattoo artist. They're going to let you work in their studio. So you're going to have to learn, how to freelance. You're going to have to learn how to be an independent contractor, if you will. You might have to learn how to be a shop owner. So I would just recommend start with whatever you can, and don't take no for an answer. And I'm going to give you the real short. I've said this before on here, and I love this. This is a perfect way to illustrate what I'm trying to say with my answer too. There's an interview of a singer for Avenged Sevenfold, and somebody asked, "What would you do?" And this guy was now 30-something years old, very successful singer in a very large metal band, and somebody asked him in an interview, "What would you do if you could go back to your teenage self? What would you say to him? What advice would you give yourself if you could go back?" And he goes, "I wouldn't give myself any advice, because look where I'm at, where I'm at now. I didn't need the advice. I'm here, and you weren't going to stop me." That was essentially, I'm paraphrasing, but that was essentially his response. And I think that's a good response, because if you're waiting for fucking permission, then you're always going to lose, because there's always going to be someone there who wants you to stay safe, which maybe is for good reason too. Maybe you just don't have what it takes. But being a tattoo artist and being successful, it's a full-time commitment. It's going to consume your life. You're going to hate it. You're going to love it. It's going to be up. It's going to be down, and everything in between. Most of the time, it's going to be uneventful, like most things. So what I recommend you getting into tattooing with no experience is develop as a person first. Start the skills in the meantime. Get a fucking job. Make some money, because you're going to need some money. And it's the same. It's the same with anything. It's the same with literally anything. Tattooing is a skill a monkey could learn. Tattooing is a skill I could teach a monkey. One day might actually have to try that. If I can fucking learn it, then anybody can learn it. The difference is, will you do it? And does it matter enough to you to have the ups and downs, like you will with anything, to maintain and to remain within it? I told Samurai today that she's not only doing wonderful, but I wanted to warn her without sugarcoating it, as we're walking out the door and leaving to go home. Not only are you doing wonderful, Samurai, but I need you to know that let's make sure you can still do wonderful when life kicks you in the fucking teeth, because that's where the real test is. And it's not just once, not twice. Sometimes it's 9 years in a fucking row. Sometimes it's 5 days in a row. Sometimes it's 5 years of peace. Sometimes it's 5 years of hell. But if you can continue to remain doing it, either because you're disciplined or committed or passionate, either one, it doesn't matter. I'd rather have commitment and discipline over passion anyway. So if you want to get into something, get into it. That's the answer. Just go. It's not rocket science for anything. It's not complicated at all. So it's all in the doing. There's no figuring out other than figuring out through action. So that's my answer to that. I like the next question too. It's going to fit in with the outdoor theme of today. I call it a theme, but of course I go over the place because that's what I like to do. Oh, I did what I said I wouldn't. It always does that towards the end. See how this burns? Look how funny this thing burned. Look at that. I like a hot spot or something. Strange. Let's see if we can. God, this is so good. I don't want to let it go. Gotta hang on. Let's see if I can do this. Oh, I'm actually pretty far behind on the comments. Diana said, that's me. Overthink always. I'm a wanderer. Jennifer, you have that 100% right. Yeah, Diana, you're admitting that's me. That's really long. I overthink always. Well, I don't know if that's... Answer me this. Has that ever helped you? Has overthinking ever helped you? Just out of curiosity, Diana. Like, answer if you like. But what is your answer to that? Has overthinking... Actually, for any of you, has overthinking ever helped you, honestly? Other than it taught you that overthinking is pretty useless, so you needed to overthink to recognize that it was useless so that you can move on? Just out of curiosity. Has overthinking ever served any of you? Because I know my answer, if you can't guess. I'm not a fan. But I would love to know, and I mean it with all respect, Diana. If you can answer that, I would love to know your input on that. Nothing better than lighting ash. The first puffs are pretty terrible after it goes out. Okay. Before we get to the next question, see if you guys have any input on that. Diana says, it actually has, I think it out, then I do it. Okay, so overthinking. Do you think it's necessary to overthink something? Well, you're saying it actually has, I think it out, then I do it. Well, everybody thinks it out and then does it. But do you think overthink it out to the point to where it turns into more thinking instead of doing? I believe in the 90-10 rule there. I believe 10% planning, 9% execution. I don't know if I said that clear. 10% action, 90% execution trumps all things. Christy, I don't know if that's true, but all right, I'll see what happens. See if I get a knock on the door. Danbury says, no, overthinking gives me anxiety. I just got to do, not think. And if I fail, I learn and keep moving forward. That's the best response I've heard all night. Because a lot of people think they're going to learn something by thinking. Thinking is just wheels spinning. Action is actual information and knowledge, if you will. Action is real life data. And a lot of people do spend their time spinning too many fucking wheels, and they want answers instead of just doing. And what's interesting is everybody's also looking for some... I get this question a lot on a personal level. I get a lot of people wanting to know... It's weird. This is actually weird that I get asked this because, you know, from my perspective in my own life, this seems absurd. But I guess from the outside looking in, this sort of question is reasonable. People will ask me, how do you stay so motivated? How do you stay positive? How do you get so much done? How do you stay on track? You know, how do you keep focused? How is it that you seem to have your shit together so much that, you know, things just work out for you? It's like, well, you could probably answer that for me. I don't. I just do what everybody wants to know. How do you keep motivated? How do you keep focused? How do you keep desire? How do you keep love alive? How do you keep all these good feelings? The answer is you fucking don't. You just do what you know you need to do every single day over and over and over for years. And you're going to have a good outcome. And it's not because you feel like it. It's not because it feels good. And that's good. You're not going to wake up motivated all the time. I would say that's not even half the time. So people say, how do you stay motivated? I don't need motivation to do the things that I've already set out to do. So I think that's a problem. A lot of people, I think the world lies to them with making things look so pretty that they're like, oh, I'm not motivated. If not being motivated stops you from doing the things you know you should, it's just weakness on your part. It's lack of discipline. That's it. Nothing else is, and no overthinking is ever going to make up for that lack of execution, ever. That's a fact. But if that's your method and that's the way you want to do it, do you. That's my personal opinion and my personal experience, and I've seen so many people struggle with that. They're looking to feel good instead of looking to do good. Fuck. Yep, that's what they're doing. Yep, they're looking to feel good instead of looking to do good. Michelle says, overthinking isn't necessarily thinking things through. It's the inability to make a decision that keeps you on the hamster wheel. And that's true. Thinking something through, planning and making a plan of action so that you can make an execution, then that's definitely not overthinking. Overthinking is literally just that, spinning your fucking wheels. Nicholas is on here. What's up, Nicholas? Nicholas, I'm glad you're here because tonight the topic is outdoors. I keep going back to it, although we're not really touching on it too much. We will here in a second with the next question. But Nicholas, I've met you in the great outdoors, and I'm thankful for that. My camping and hiking and excursions have led me to you, Nicholas. You're a part of my life and an important person to me. I appreciate you and our friendship, and it's all because of the great outdoors. So I had to bring that up. Nicholas says, it's easy for some to pipe dream and never accomplish shit because having responsibilities is hard. You're 100% true. Everybody has ideas and feelings and opinions. Opinions are like assholes. And nobody wants execution. It's so hard to listen to people who don't execute, who've accomplished what? Like, what have you accomplished that gives you the authority to tell somebody else how to do such thing? I think that's ignorance. And you have to be really careful because people want to share with you and they want to teach you and they want to help you. And a lot of times I think out of the goodness of their heart, but they're misleading you if depending on what they've accomplished, they may not be qualified to lead you in the way in which they desire to. And so you have to be very careful and qualify people only off the things they've executed. It's very, very important. It's very hard to navigate that because it's not that people are meaning to do you harm, but people will lead you astray, which is, well, very biblical, not to lean on one's own desires. So Diana's saying, I guess it comes from what I was told as a child all my life. I was always told to think before you do anything and think of the consequences are worth it, good and bad. So I've always done that. Yeah, that's great. That's called being conscious. So that's a very good thing. I wouldn't say that's overthinking. I think overthinking is it's really like a mental health disorder. Really, if you've ever, I actually had to put one time. I don't know if I ever told anybody this. I actually had to make a piece. I was overthinking so much at a point in my life that it was spinning my wheels. I'd do it for hours, and it was driving me fucking literally crazy in my head. I couldn't get out of bed. I had a plan. I wanted to do this, but then you ever find yourself just scrolling or looking at social media and going, wait, whoa. That was like an hour. Why am I doing this? I used to do that with thinking. And I just went out in my garage one day because I was so pissed off and fed up with it. Because you have to like catch it before it starts. Otherwise, the hamster wheel is hard to stop. And so I went out in my garage. I took a piece of cardboard. I took a big ass black Sharpie and I wrote no thinking. I think it was either no thinking or stop thinking. I think it said stop thinking. So when I wake up, it reminded me, okay, don't start the hamster wheel of, overthinking. And that was a really good signal for me to quit. And it was like, it felt like a disease. I know that sounds maybe weird. Maybe you guys can somewhat relate to that. I don't know. Desiree says, I think that overthinking helps obtain more mindfulness and different views in the full scope of most situations. A quick thinker is good for the moment. The deep thinker is good throughout. Okay, so overthinking is not the same as deep thinking. Overthinking is when you're running through, it isn't the same. We could get into that, I guess, but Desiree, thank you for that input. But I think overthinking is when you're getting past the point of it being useful. And I've experienced that. I've 100% experienced that. I think for some people who don't accomplish much in their life, and I mean that respectfully, I think their experience is that overthinking led them to the few things they did accomplish. But if you're trying to be a high performer in whatever endeavor you're on, whatever you're embarking on, what happens is you got to stop overthinking and you got to take action. If you really want to build something or do something in your life, especially with like family or kids, you got to get to work. You got to get doing shit. And that's the real stream of information. It's the richest stream of information. It's taking action and failing. Nothing beats that. You could overthink it all you want, but what it sounds like to me you're describing is not overthinking. It's thinking appropriately. Some things require more time than others. Some things require a lot of thinking, but that's not overthinking. That'd be appropriate thinking. Brody says, especially when the hamster falls and has been thrown around in that wheel. Yeah, that's what happens with overthinking. It's like a never-ending wheel of chaos. Diana said, don't overthink when you're hiking because you will get lost in the wilderness. I'm totally cool with that. I'll get lost in the wilderness. But yes, sometimes overthinking is useless when you're in a place that it doesn't even matter. To be alone with your thoughts instead of being alone with nature. I would rather be alone with nature. Sheldon, what's up? What's up, brother? Thanks for being on here. We got Sheldon. All right. Arabella's on here. What's up? Good to see you. Long time no see, but good to have you on here. She says, don't talk about it, be about it. Yeah, most of the time we do overtalk. Here I am with a live show where I'm talking my face off and probably boring half of you to death. But yeah, you're saying don't talk about it, be about it. Yeah, 100%. I actually think most of us would do a lot better if we stopped trying to explain things to people and just physically do and show. I used to think about this a lot when my kids were growing up and I was, when I was raising a family, let's just put it that way. By the way, if you guys didn't catch on, my kids are teenagers. My daughter's graduating. Her last day was last week, and life has definitely moved on far away from the 4, 5, 6-year-old kids I used to have running around me. But I used to think, or I should say, I used to imagine if my kids couldn't hear my words, and if my lady couldn't hear what I say to her, if I had to I used to imagine taping my mouth shut. It was just a sort of thought experiment. If I tape my mouth shut, would they know how I feel? Would what I say, what I think I would say, is it congruent with what I do? So actions over words all day. Not that words don't have their place. Obviously they do. That's what we're doing here. But actions are everything. And yeah, actions speak louder than words. So I like that with what you're saying. Don't talk about it, be about it. But try to imagine, like, what would someone think of you if you couldn't tell them what to think of you? What would your husband think of you if you couldn't tell him what he should think of you? What would your coworkers or your boss or your friends or family or kids, what would they think of you? What would someone, maybe you have some ancestors that you look up to that have passed away. What would they think of you if they didn't have to listen to you? They just saw you, just watched you. It's kind of like I believe that's that kind of the concept of God, of seeing all things, and knowing all things. In the Bible, it says that God knows He's counted all the hairs on your head. He knows every minute detail. And what's interesting about that is that's what that means is what if somebody's watching? What if somebody knew everything you did and you couldn't lie? No words are necessary to explain anything. There's people can see through you. If they could see through you and just your actions and not your words, what would they see? Words, you will find, often are very empty and very useless. They can be very useless. They can be useful. I think words should always be looked at as like a label on a place, like a sign, right? I read this in a book once. I think it was called The Power of Now. I did terrible keeping this alive, but it's towards its end, and that was wonderful. Thank you, Cigar. So words are like signposts in front of the thing. So, for example, you get to the Grand Canyon, you get to a border of a state or a country or wherever. You don't look at the sign and think, oh my gosh, we're at the Grand Canyon. You look at the sign to remind you that there's something beyond it. That's what words are. They're just signs to remind you there's something beyond them. That's all they are. That's why we could get into semantics all day and talk about till the cows come home, what that means, what words mean, and what this and that. Like, don't get stopped or stumped at the sign. Always remember there's something beyond the sign, and that thing is reality. That's real. The sign itself is just a symbol, and that's all words are. They're just symbols to things beyond the words. That's some deep thinking. And so I think if you could tape your mouth shut and stop speaking, what would people think of you? That's a better way to assess yourself in a more accurate, useful way as well. Sheldon's getting some love on here. What's up, Shelly? Shelly should be the co-host. I'm telling you, he's got his own chair. I made him his own chair. I even got you headphones, bro. I bought literally headphones so that you can sit in the corner over here and have your own Shelly cam. And what's up, Kim? Thanks for being on here. Good to see you. Brody says, when your hearts are connected, no words are needed. What's interesting about that is I think our hearts are all connected always, all the time, and words aren't needed. But when we lose sight of that connection, although it's always there, that's where the words are most necessary to lead us like signposts and symbols back to the source. Couldn't have said it better myself. Mike Connor's on here. What's up, dude? Dude. Dinah's asking, Josh, does your daughter still sing? Do you still sing? Yes and yes. Isabel doesn't sing as much. She's super into instruments at the moment. but she does still sing. Often my house will echo with a cello in the background as she's flipping through her sheet music, and it sounds like I live in a fancy mansion or something with the way she plays. It's really wonderful. I don't know if I've told you guys this, but oftentimes me and Evan will sit on the couch while she's playing her cello, when she plays her cello in her room to practice, especially if she has like an audition. She'll just sit in there all day and practice, and me and Evan will just sit on the couch and listen, and it's like heavenly. It's amazing. It's like having a concerto in your home. Jennifer, this is interesting. You said it's impossible to know and consider every possible outcome of any given situation. Overthinking and overanalyzing possibilities prevents you from acting and living, and that is a fact. So 100%, I'm with you on that one. So that's true. People often think that thinking is action, and it is not. Thinking is stagnation. So thank you for saying that. Lenore said it would be nice to have him back on. So Sheldon, you heard that. See, do I have any other sound? What do I have here? What sound effects do I have? I don't think I have a lot. I have this one in case I say bullshit. Anyway, that was fun. I need more sound effects. My other sound effects board is taking a shit on me. I'll get a new one. And see, we're getting it seconded. We're getting it second and third and fourth. So Sheldon, what's up? You need to get back on here. Diana says, I think you singing with us one evening would be so awesome. You mean you're going to sing so I can bring you on as a caller and you can sing? Is that what you mean? That sounds awesome. Okay, next question. We are currently an hour in. 21 people are watching. 10 people thumbs it up. We got 3 hearts. An hour and 15 minutes in with 186 comments. Guys, get in the comment section if you're watching this in the background. I know there's not 22 of you at the moment commenting. So if you're watching this and you're not commenting, I will find you. I will find you and I will ruin your email, your Instagram, your Facebook. I will destroy everything. So unless you get in the comment section, let us know who you are, where you're watching from. Yeah, what's up? Ask a question, slip into the DMs, guys, or slip into the comments, not the DMs, and ask us your questions. Ask Me Anything is the Q&A for the day. So Hump Day, Wednesday, that's what we do. You know what to do. Just see what everybody else is doing. That's what you should do. If you don't do it and you're on here watching and you're just peeping in the background, well, we're just going to kick you off. So strong, passionate. Wait. Desiree, I'm not sure if I'm missing something or if that's in response to something else. Sorry, I'm not quite following. Danbury says that we should do a Van Bros Forest episode, and I 100% agree. That's a great idea. So Sheldon, what's up? Are you down? Let's do it. So leading us into the next question. Well, of course, one just pops up. What is your favorite band? Mike Connor, how could I possibly say what my favorite band is? Danzig, of course. How can you pick just one? Danzig. Okay, so the next question is, what are some good spots in Yosemite to see? I hope most of you, especially if you're local, already know the answers to this. I think there's 3 main spots if you want to be a spectator, and then there's a few really good spots if you're willing to get off trail. So if you are, gosh, I wish I had my buttons. I'm just going to have to be satisfied with this for now, with all these. Oh, this isn't even the right one. Look at all these flags we got it going in here. I'll take them. That's right. Okay. So the 3 main spots, if whether you guys live local or not, have or haven't gone or want to go in the future, the 3 spots that if you're going to drive is Glacier Point. If it's the right time of the year, you can visit there, usually in the spring or the summer and the fall. Glacier Point is have to see. You have to see Glacier Point if you're going to Yosemite. So what are some good spots in Yosemite to see? Glacier Point, 100%. If you want to just see things from your car, obviously you're going to drive through the valley. Everybody's going to do that. So you have to see the valley. You got to go and see all the sights there. And then I would say next, if there was a spot you absolutely had to see in Yosemite that's, let's say traversable for most people, I would say you should get off onto the Mist Trail and go, I believe it's a Mist Trail, and go and see Vernal Falls. It's a couple miles. You can go real slow. Take your time, whatever your physical condition limits you to do. It's not going to take you all day if you go slow unless you want to go to the top. But it's just a short trip. So go see Vernal Falls, go see Glacier Point, and explore the whole valley. Take your time, get out, have a picnic, bring some food, and walk around. If there's 3 things in Yosemite you have to see, it's It's those three things. I think if you went to Yosemite and went to the valley, which is where everybody goes, and you missed Glacier Point, then I think you've missed the best part. So I would not skip that. Matter of fact, I often go up there just for that spot. So there you go. There's my answers. Okay, let's catch up on some of this. You guys know I love the flags. That's right. Super fucking down. Sachi says, I like to peep though. That's awesome, but you got to jump in every once in a while. So thanks, Sashi. Sashi, that's kind of a cool name. Sachi for being on here. Getting spicy for sure. Maribel says she's rearranging her garage and listening. First time listener. Don't boot me. I'm not going to boot you. I'm not going to boot you. You jumped on. You did the thing. You've passed the test. But thanks for being on here. Lolly says to put much time into thinking about or in analyzing something in a way that is more harmful than helpful. 100% agree. Nicholas says Dana Glacier during a storm. Is that where you're watching from, Nicholas? No, that's what you mean. Danbury, yes. Glacier Point when it's open. It's under construction right now, not open for a while. Well, as long as you can get to Glacier Point, even if the actual point itself is under construction, we've got a lot of snow. This has been a crazy year, crazy couple years actually, for weather. And it's under construction, but there's still ways around a lot of it. Since Danbury is saying this, if anybody's curious to go up to Glacier Point, if you can still drive up to Glacier Point, maybe it's closed itself, but before Glacier Point, there's a place called Sentinel Dome or Sentinel Dome. I guess it's the same thing. It's right before Glacier Point. You can actually see it from the road. There's a little turnoff. Well, it's quite a big turnoff. There's a bathroom. You can park there, hike a mile or two up to Sentinel Dome, and it is one of the absolute best views of Yosemite. So that's a wonderful spot as well. Yosemite, no matter where you go, you're going to see something awesome. Get out of the car, get off the trail, and go check things out and enjoy. Just be very careful. People die there every year. Obviously, I'm not paid to say this, but multiple people die there every single year because they get too close to the edges, and there's 3,000-foot cliffs there. Just don't be stupid. It's the biggest rock face in the world, so it just gives you. If you haven't been there, you don't know much about Yosemite. Then just understand that it has some of the biggest rock face cliffs in the world. It has one of them, the biggest one. She's also saying Mariposa Grove. That is cool. Mariposa Grove's cool. If you've never seen a sequoia, it's nice to be able to get all that in one spot. But if you really want to see sequoias, you got to get to Kings Canyon or Sequoia National Park. Mike said, is there a topic? Yes, it's outdoors, Mike. Where the hell have you been? The last question was, where's some good spots in Yosemite to see? And the topic was earlier mentioned to everybody that it's the outdoors today. That's what it's about. Deanna says, I've been lost in Yosemite National Park for 16 hours when I was 9 years old. Rangers found the grace of God. What a life experience. Yeah, that's incredible. It's very scary. I mean, anytime in the woods, people underestimate nature all the time because they see it from afar. They watch it, watch it online. They see pictures, they see movies, and they don't. Nature is a lot like the city in the sense that it can go from 0 to 100 in a split second. So like if you ever watch videos of like police videos or, crime videos or anything regarding, real life situations and how things can escalate, they can go from totally fucking chill, a normal ass day standing in line waiting for your cheeseburger to like absolute chaos, death and destruction, like in a second. Nature is exactly the same way. So give it some fucking respect. Down, not saying you didn't. Glad you were found. Keith is on here. What's up, Keith? Good to see you, man. Mr. Eckert got an appointment coming up. We started a badass sleeve with this dude. One of the best pieces I think I've ever done. Hopefully it's healing good. I'd love to see it soon. He said he's on an elliptical and it's hard to comment. That's awesome, but I'm glad you did. So thanks for jumping on here and letting us know. Let's see. Danbury says you can do the 4-mile hike up, but the road is closed off. So if Glacier Point Road, I think is what it's called, Glacier Road, whatever it is. If it's closed off, which she's saying it is, it's a 4-mile hike up. It's a very long. I wouldn't recommend it necessarily, personally, if you have to do that. If it's closed at the main road, then you're just gonna have to wait till it's open. For most people. I personally think Yosemite actually should be closed to traffic, to vehicles. I think it should be closed at the tunnel. That should be as far as you're allowed to drive in. The rest of it, I think you should have to earn. It keeps it more beautiful that way. But it is what it is. It sucks to see so much traffic trampling down the beautiful valley. And plus, I think there'd be less people, and that's kind of more my jam. Danbury says the water's massively flowing, so stay away from it. Yes, and even when it's not massively flowing, stay away from it. It's very dangerous, especially towards cliffs. You get swept away, and that's how people die. So be very, very careful. Brody Jade's asking a question here. Favorite food to eat outdoors? Man, can I answer that in two ways? Of course I can. It's my show, so I will. Favorite food to eat outdoors? Does a cigar and a glass of whiskey count? Food, not really. Whiskey, yeah. I'm going to go with that. If that doesn't count, let me know, and I will try to do my best to answer otherwise. But if I'm backpacking, my favorite food, man, that's a hard one, but I would have to say anything that's real food. But when I'm backpacking, man, I would say avocado. Avocado and real bread. For some reason, it doesn't sound great when you're sitting here in the comfort of your home and it's all available to you. But when you're up there and you're doing something fucking crazy, you're out there forever eating shit food, that seems to be something that when you have it, it's like just pure gold. Let's see here. Nicholas says, are you going to Mono anytime soon? You know what? I might actually be going very, very soon. So if you're asking for a very specific reason, slip into my DMs, Nicholas, and let me know what you're looking for. By the way, since we're here in this nice little baritone voice, I would just like to reach out and say, Linda, if you're listening, because I know somebody on here that knows you is listening, because I saw their name. But if you're out there, just know that I'm thinking about you. I care about you. You're amazing. By the way, I just tattooed Linda recently. I proved to you all that she's real. And let's just say it this way. I'm just going to, not that it's about money always, but I will say this. And even though it meant more than money, it's the gesture. She gave me the biggest tip I've ever received. I'm not going to disclose the dollar amount, but it was incredible. We finished 2 of her sleeves and started adding a couple small things. And she has just been absolutely wonderful to me. And not just because of the money, just because of how much she cares and how wonderful she is. So, Linda, if you're out there, if you're listening, you know I love you. If this is your guys' first episode that you're watching, number 53 here, then you might not know who Linda is. But if you watch again, you will start to find out. Linda is like, to me, to this show, what Vern is to Ernest. Some of you might not get that. Okay, let's keep going here. So, Nicholas, anyway, jump into my DMs. Let me know if you're asking that for a good reason. If maybe it's a sexy time or something, let me know. Amanda's on here. What's up, Amanda? Thanks for joining us. Party time. I don't know if you've ever been on here before, if you ever watched one of these episodes, but thank you for being here, sending out the hearts. Yeah, so thanks for jumping on. This is the Q&A, so if this is new to you or anybody that's on here, you guys can ask me anything. I got a couple questions left, actually, that people have submitted, which we're going to get to. Obviously, if you're just jumping on, you've missed the boat on what the topic is, so the topic is outdoors. Marabella said, meals taste better outdoors. 100% they do. Everything tastes better when you have to earn it, when you do earn it. Actually, everything is better when you have to earn it. Lenore said, yes, she's real. Thank you. Thank you for confirming that. Know what I mean, Vern? Oh, well, thank you, Lenore. I know you like it. You say it every time. Lenore sends me food porn. I'm not going to say much more about it than that, but hopefully that wasn't a little too much. But yeah, food porn is always welcome. Show me some of those meals when I'm starving and I had a long day and I'm ready to eat. Lenore will just send me some beautiful food to eat and just makes me hungrier, somewhat more frustrated, but I don't want to shut it down. So anyway. All right, so next question is going to be coming also from Facebook. This is number one. This is asked a lot, so maybe I'll try to switch it up a little. Number one pet peeve with customers. Coming from Facebook. This is hard to answer. Number one pet peeve, like there isn't. Oh, actually, here we go. This will lead me into the next question. If you guys made it this far, we're actually going to get into some dicey territory here in a second. So if you watched this already for an hour and a half, 20 of you watching, 223 comments, 18 likes, 5 hearts. Guys, if you didn't like the video already, go ahead and do it. You have to close the chat. Well, it depends on what device you're watching from. But close the chat and give me a thumbs up on this. It definitely helps. Let's see here. So what is the number one pet peeve with customers? Well, honestly, it's kind of like dating. One of the biggest pet peeves is when somebody's not getting a hint. It's really annoying because you want to be professional, you want to be polite. It's like going to you ever go to somebody's house, or I'm sorry, has anybody ever visited your house or a party and they say something like, well, if you want me to leave, I can, or just let me know when you want me to go. Don't put that onus on the person that's doing the work or that's hosting or that's lending out a hand or that's making the offering or that the whole charade is leaning on. Don't put that on them to say, let me know when you want to leave, or let me know if I can bring something, or let me know if I can do something for you. Just take action. If you're wondering whether or not somebody wants you to leave, just say, hey, I'm going to get going in a minute, but I'm going to hang out, for a few more and check out the place or whatever. Make yourself known, but at the same time, maybe make your exit known, but don't put the onus on the person. So that's my biggest pet peeve is when people say, if you don't want to tattoo me, just let me know. If I haven't fucking responded to you in a year, if I haven't tattooed you in years and you've been trying, chances are, here's your sign. So we're going to get to that actually in a second because it's going to lead me to my next comment, which is going to get a little bit spicy. I'm going to try to be as honest and real and transparent as I can with you guys based off this next question because it'll be a great opportunity to just be real and raw with you guys in a way that's seemingly sometimes maybe a little less professional, as much as I'll try to be. So we'll read that question here in a second. Damien saying spicy, 100%. Leticia, thanks for being on here. I appreciate you jumping on. I don't know if you've ever been on here before. I think you have, but either way, I'm going to give you a nice little party sound. I'm limited to my my sound effects boards today, and my other one has crashed. So actually, I'll show it to you guys. This is what it does. It's what my old sound board does now. Yep, that's it. It's done. It's doing nothing. I don't know what it needs. I'll figure it out another day. I've sat here for hours trying to figure it out. So instead I have this other board over here that gives me all that I apparently need for now. So anyway, thanks for being on here. She's saying cooler outdoor spots, ? It's about to get really hot. I love a drive in cooler spots for nice trails in the summer. Anywhere above 8,000 feet. So anywhere basically Bass Lake, Huntington Lake, Shaver Lake or above is going to be cooler. Because she's talking about the actual temperature here in the valley. But good spots are going to be anywhere above the lower lakes. Always, of course, if anybody is from the valley, to avoid the Bass Lake, really even Bass Lake. Avoid Bass Lake, Huntington Lake, Shaver Lake. I'm sorry, I'm going to retract that. It's Pine Flat, Millerton, and Bass Lake. Avoid those if you can. If you can go a little further, do so. And get up higher, and it's always going to be cooler anywhere with big trees. So Leticia, to really answer that question in one of my favorite ways or my favorite places is drive up to Dinky Creek Road. So take 168 towards Shaver. Before you get to the town of Shaver, actually you're going to enter the town of Shaver, and you're going to take a right on Dinky Creek Road, if you already know where this is, and go as far back as you wish. You can go all the way out to a couple more lakes, but when you get up to, it's a little further. It's about a 2-hour drive, I think, maybe more. But if you get up to Wishon and Courtright, I think, is one of the most beautiful places on the planet, and you can drive straight to it. And it's a little bit of work, but it's wonderful. It's always cool up there. It's like never hot. It always feels so amazing, especially in the dead of the summer. It's one of my favorite places actually to go up and just as a destination for the day to basically like day camp. So there you go, Courtright. Go to Courtright if you want to cool down. Lenore says, what's your favorite Mexican food? Does meatloaf count? Tacos. That's pretty easy. Just tacos. That's it. I know it's probably a bit of a disgrace, but that's what I'm saying. Tacos. How can it be? It's tacos. Come on. Lenore says, and always come over with something, never empty-handed. What the fuck? Hell yeah. That's actually true, too. If somebody invites you or if you get invited or you're on your way to somewhere, especially for the first time, but even just in general, if you're invited somewhere, don't go empty-handed. I've made that mistake many times. The etiquette is super terrible. Don't do that. And definitely don't put the onus on the person that's hosting. So we're going to get to that in a second with the next question on what I meant by all that. Keith says, have you ever been to Dinky Lakes Wilderness? I've been completely through Dinky Lakes. Even you saying that, have you ever been to Dinky Lakes Wilderness, gets me excited because it's one of the most beautiful places in the world. If you guys ever want, if anybody, I'm going to give you guys a look. Damn, should I do this? Let me think about this for a second. Should I tell you about this? Let me read some of these. I don't know if I should tell you about this. Jennifer says, what's your favorite body of water or one on your bucket lists? Unfortunately, a place I meant to go a long time ago and got stopped. Unfortunately, got stopped in my tracks. And so I didn't quite make it. I was just at the cusp of Precipice Lake. And it's one of the most beautiful places on the planet. I've never seen it. My friends got to continue on. I had to turn around. So I never got to see it. We were 2 days in, and I had to turn around, unfortunately. So I never got to see it. And it was on my it's been on my bucket list, and I think I'll probably never see it. But anyway, Precipice Lake, look it up. It's unreal. Ansel Adams, I believe, is the one who said it's the most beautiful place on the planet, or maybe it's his favorite place to photograph on the planet. Okay, let's see here. So Keith is saying, have you ever been to Dinky Lakes Wilderness? I left you guys hanging. I'm just going to answer it. If you guys are ever looking for a really good hike, since I just mentioned to Leticia, I just mentioned going up to Courtright. If you go to Courtright, there's going to be a trail called Cliff Lake Trailhead. It's a couple of miles, maybe a couple of miles. If you want a good backpacking experience, even a day hike, it is one of the most beautiful covered. If you're a rookie, if you've never done this before, if you're not sure if you like it, whether it's day hiking or backpacking and overnighting, and you want a really good place to go that's fairly safe, that's not too treacherous, it's a great walk. It's almost all shaded, mostly flat, which is kind of unheard of, especially in the Sierras. Go to Cliff. I shouldn't even be saying this. Well, since there's only anywhere from 100 to 500 views on these videos, and only 20 of you watching at the current moment, I feel safe to say go there if you want that experience. Bring, of course, everything you need for the outdoors. One day we'll get into that. We should have that conversation because I love this shit. But go to Cliff Lakes. If you want to go further, go further. That would lead you eventually into Dinky Lakes Wilderness area. You can get there from multiple different ways, but that's one of my favorite ways to do it. So to your question, Keith, yes, I have all through the Dinky Lakes, upper and lower. I've been all the way to the top to Three Sisters, actually to the peak of Three Sisters up by Island Lake, which is just fucking amazing, man. That place is just heavenly. And the views up there, just absolutely wonderful. Okay, let's keep going here before we get to the next question. The next question is serious, guys. I hope you're anticipating this. So Danbury is making a good point too, but this is always true for anywhere you live. Low-hanging fruit is always usually the worst. So go a little further, do a little bit of work, and get into somewhere that's more beautiful. And Diana is agreeing. Never come empty-handed. And don't ask. That's the worst. Don't ask. Don't ask what you should bring. Just do a little bit of research. Ask some questions. What are we having for dinner? What have other people brought? Or, what's the occasion? You should already know if you're being invited, I guess. Danbury's saying, haven't been in years. Need to go check out Dinky Creek soon. Dinky Creek's cool. But the Dinky Creek Wilderness, which is way above Dinky Creek itself, you can only backpack in. It is wonderful. Let me ask you this. Does anybody on here know? Let's see. Okay. Does anybody on here know the reason why it's named Dinky Creek? Just see what Californians are on here. Don't Google it. That's just cheating. Come on. Be real. Danbury says, I would not make a hike. I'm more of a nester. I'll cook, clean, and keep the campsite nicely. That's awesome and always appreciated. It's very rare that we get to experience that, but it's wonderful. Lenore, that sounds great. I will never stop you. So let's get to the next question. This is a real one. This is spicy. This is dicey. This is personal. And it's a little... I was tempted to actually ignore it completely, but I think it's a really good time to be real with you guys and open up to something that's not so easy to share. Man, that's a cliffhanger. If I could just leave it there and see what happens out in the ether, that'd be cool. Sorry. I'm back. Okay. So this is the next question that I've been leaving you guys on the hook here for a second with. Okay, so this is the next question. It's actually not a question, it's more of a statement question. So this is coming from a Facebook user, and let's take a look here. It says, "You never answer me back. What did I do? Just wanted my arm finished. Shitty feeling." Yeah, so I want to answer this as honest as I can. I'm not obviously going to say any names, and I'm not trying to throw this person under the bus, but it's a really good opportunity for me to address something specific. You have to be able to take hints. You know, as a tattoo artist, which I am, or as a professional, which a lot of you are, or whether it's personal or it's it's a relationship or it's business, you have to learn how to take hints. You know, don't be the person to say, "What did I do wrong?" Be the person to figure it out on your fucking self. Don't put the onus on the person who's got the thing you want. You have to figure out how to get that. Don't put it on the person. You know, like oftentimes I try my best to be nice. I'll be as honest with you guys as I can. Of course, as respectful as I can as well, with still being honest. There are people that are just, I'd like to say, you don't click, because that's always the nice guy in me sharing that with you guys. That's always my way of saying, like, hey, this isn't working out. I've said this to people before. Hey, I just don't think I'm the right artist for you. I've told people often, I just don't think that's my kind of style of tattooing, just to kind of let them off. And you know how this works. It's like a date. It's like if you're dating and you tell a person, I'm just not really interested right now in a relationship. They don't see that as a no. So sometimes you have to be stern and say, no, I'm not interested. Not that I'm not interested in dating, because that leaves them on the hook. You got to say, I'm not interested in you. To have to say that, like, oh, what's wrong with me? Like, that's just such petty stuff. So if somebody's not responding to you, like, and maybe this is where the gray area is. If no response is a response, right? Like, no response is definitely a response. The person doesn't want anything to do with you. You got to accept that. And as a client, as a professional, I don't like to leave it hanging there. So I'll almost always, 99% of the time, let somebody know. I want nothing. If I want nothing to do with somebody, I have to let them know. I usually let it linger long enough to see if it sizzles out itself, so I don't have to be that guy. If I just responded to everybody I didn't want to tattoo or work with that way, just like, hey, I don't want to tattoo you, go somewhere else, fuck off. I feel like I would be, it's not always appropriate, but there are times where I'm just being honest with you. I got to let people know I'm just not fucking interested. Go somewhere else, like, fuck off. And I mean that in the nicest way. I don't wish any harm. Obviously, you guys know me enough to know I'm not here to bash anybody. I'm not here to, wish ill upon anybody. But the truth is, when it comes to artists, like, again, I'll quote Robert Miranda, who was on here on episode 50, which I loved what he said. Every time he tattoos somebody, he feels like he's giving a part of you to them. He's giving a part of himself to the client, and that's very true. It's a very personal thing. With what I do as a tattoo artist, a huge oversimplification. I'm a professional and I'm an artist. So I'm a business person, I'm a creative person. And sometimes I'm often that every single day, different hats throughout the day. And this is oversimplified because there's many more too, but I often have to think money, which is unemotional, and then I have to think art, which is emotional. And I have to turn those off and on simultaneously, sometimes existing together. But when it comes to clients I don't want to deal with, just take it. Just take the response as no response being a response. And then also time to time, I have to tell people to fuck off if they're being rude. This person that's asking me this has never necessarily been rude to me, but she or he has been, let's say, unpleasant enough for me to no longer want to do business with them. That being said, it's hard for me being honest with you guys. It's hard for me to be that guy that just tells you how I feel as a professional. Now, if we're talking personal, it's pretty fucking easy. My personal response is kick fucking rocks. I don't give a shit. Don't care. Go find another life. Go find another artist. But my professional side of me wants to say, how do I alleviate the possibility of, because it's unemotional. Professional is unemotional. Art and creativity and personal is emotional. So how do I handle this both ways? Or how do I choose which side to handle it from? So I try to typically do it from the more personal side. But oftentimes I have to get professional and just say, I'm not interested. Sorry. And you have to be very direct. Sometimes people don't get the hint with the cold shoulders. And sometimes, to be honest with you, it's not that I'm passive. It's just sometimes I don't have the time or energy to address those types of things. So I'm just going to leave you hanging. So if that's you, if anybody watching this now or in the future is wondering whether or not, like I said, it's like dating. If somebody's not responding, that is a response. So just take the hint, right? I've literally had to tell people some of the meanest shit to get them out of my proximity in regards to my personal and professional life, especially professionally. And it's never fun. It doesn't feel good. And I've made mistakes in how I've full transparency, absolutely said things I should have never said to people. But we're all fucking humans, right? So sometimes we fuck up. So get the hint, if you will. So anyway, that was to that question. What did I do? I just wanted my arm finished. A shitty feeling. You never answer me back. Well, then therein lies your fucking answer. Okay, so we'll get to the next one here in a minute, but I don't want to ignore you guys, so I'm going to scroll back on the chat again. Casey's on here. What's up, Casey? Thanks for joining us. She says, I barely got service. Looks like it's service. Beavis. I don't know why that reminded me of just barely got Beavis. Christy says, hire me, I'll do it. You know, actually, that's a good point. I do actually need to hire somebody that handles things administratively and helps me to alleviate some of the burden that I have because I'm always thinking creatively, and it's really hard to kind of wear both hats. But I am actually in the process of figuring out how I can work that out. Lenore says, you have always said that if a client is still asking this, she or he is still not getting it. Hopefully they get it now. I fucking totally agree. I wonder if I have this one. Oh, found it. Patience, Heidi. Patience. Let's see here. Diana says, yeah, sometimes you got to be absolutely clear on it. No, I am not interested, period. Yes, that's definitely true for dating. And sometimes very true professionally. I have to let people know I'm just not interested. I'm not interested. Goodbye. I don't owe anybody an explanation. It's rough when you started something as an artist on somebody and you don't want to finish it. It's a little hard, especially if you put your efforts into it. And I know that's hard for the person too. So you can be very empathetic to that, but sometimes you just got to turn that shit off. Diana's, that's exactly the response I would think most people would have is, oh man, why even ask at that point? Awkward. Yes, I don't know. I feel like some people just like the suffering, the unnecessary suffering. Okay, so let's get to the last question. Actually, how long have we been on here, guys? Hour and 45 minutes. Okay, last question. Are you taking new clients? Am I taking new clients? I'm always taking new clients. I'm always divorcing the old and out with the old, in with the new. So I'm always changing clientele just because my art is always growing. My business is always growing. I'm always growing and changing. So obviously my clientele oftentimes does the same. But wonderfully enough, I have people that have been with me forever that we're like family. So they're not going anywhere. I'm not going anywhere. But for those that wanted what I used to do, I might not do that anymore. There's certain styles that I just don't do. Like, for example, she's asking, are you taking new clients? I'm only taking people now. I say almost no to everything and only yes to portraiture and realism. So if somebody wants a cover up, probably not doing it. If somebody wants something small, probably not doing it. Lettering, definitely not doing it. Adding to somebody else's work or finishing somebody else's project, I'm definitely not doing it. And it's only simply because I've worked really fucking hard to be able to deserve the lifestyle that I have and to earn the lifestyle I have so that I can do the things I want to do, not the things that everybody else wants me to do. So that's the whole point. I've paid my dues long enough doing what everybody wanted me to do to develop the skills, and I'm very appreciative of that opportunity to have built those skills through people giving me, that chance, and I appreciate it. But what's the point of doing that if I'm just a servant to everybody as opposed to eventually figuring out how to do what I want to do? And that's where I'm at now. So unapologetically not doing things that I don't want to do. So that's pretty much it. Christy, I wish I had the button for you, but that's all I got for now, guys. So we're going to overplay it. But that's it. Bring money, and that's really it. Debra says, when's the next camping trip? I don't know. Plan one. I don't know when it is. Diana says, gosh, time went by so darn fast. That's very true. Dabra says, when's the next tattoo class? I don't think I'm going to do them for the summer. I'm going to really try to do a little bit. This is my first summer with my daughter being graduated. She wants to go off to college, so I'm going to try to do a lot of family time during this summer, and I have some other things that I want to work on. So during the summer, I'm probably not going to be doing them. I'm hopefully, as things slow back down, school's back in for everybody else, then maybe when it slows down, we'll get back into it. But as of now, I don't have any plans, so it's going a little dormant. I totally agree. Thank you, Damria. Okay, so guys, that's it. We did this episode 53. I think we rocked it. You guys got in the comment section. It got spicy. We got a little real. We had fun. It's been real. It's been fun. It's been real fun. And so this being episode, did I say 25? Now I'm losing it. It's getting late. That soda's wearing off. It's already 9:30. Gosh, it's well past all of your bedtime. I'm not going to bed till tomorrow. So you guys, thanks for being on here. I always appreciate you. This show is always about the Q&A on Wednesdays. You guys ask questions. I like to respond and give you my honest answers. But I also just appreciate your guys' support. But I like you guys being on here and conversing with me. It's a great opportunity for me to get to know you guys in a way that I couldn't do on a regular, because when I'm tattooing, I got my gloves on. I can't answer phones. I can't be on social media. Really, the only time I get to see anything from anybody is if I'm taking a restroom break, sitting on the king's throne in the shop, and possibly catching up on a few DMs or something. Other than that, this is my time to really connect with people digitally. So this is very fun for me. I always appreciate it. I hope you guys appreciate it too. As of now, episode 53, we're looking at 54. I have a few people lined up in the future for future episodes, other artists and people alike that I will bring on the show. I always say this for the last couple episodes. If you guys know anybody that is artistic, anybody who believes in art or freedom, artistic freedom makes sense. But if anybody who's artistic, who is creative, anybody who's a tattooer, anybody who's a business owner or entrepreneur, especially somebody that you think is remarkable, somebody you look up to, somebody you admire, somebody you might think fits in this show, even if veterans, it's another one of the topics that I really enjoy. Getting veterans on here, people that have served our country, whether active or retired, that have stories typically revolving around tattoos, or typically involving, I should say, tattoos. Whether you're a business owner, an artist, a creative person, or a veteran, tattoos are usually involved in a lot of this. And so I love to just tie it all in together and have good conversations. So look forward to that in the future. And then again, if you guys know anybody, reach out to me and send them my way. You can always reach out to me or just have them, or just send them my way, I guess. Link it, tag it, share it, whatever you have to do. And thank you, Brody. I also appreciate it very much. Diana, thanks for being on here. I appreciate all of you, of course. Dambria, you guys are some OGs. Even when this show gets to the point to where I can't get to all the comments, you guys will still be there. So I appreciate you. Diana says, no cover-ups, no exceptions. I won't say no exceptions, but portraiture and realism is all I'm taking. So that's the only thing that I'm not making exceptions for. Thank you, Brody Jade. I appreciate you for the kind words. And Dambria, save this question for next time. We'll get into it. Catalina, I don't know if I've seen you on here before. You're asking fall class. I answered that. If you didn't hear it, guys, tune in next time. Ladies, gentlemen, friends, family. Yeah, you guys get spicy with me in the comments section. Next week, Wednesday, episode 54. Who knows what the topic will be? But I know you guys will be there. That was super cheesy. You know what? I'm going to go out with a bang. Let's do this. So you guys know I appreciate you. I love you. I hope you guys had a good night. I know I did. Joshua A. Farmer signing out. Linda, if you're out there, you already know. Linda, you're my favorite. You guys, have a good night. Thank you. God bless. Peace out. It's been real. It's been fun. Later.